Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 15th to the 21st of April 2019. We're coming out of quite a difficult week as we had Saturn and Pluto both squaring off with the Sun. So these happened on almost consecutive days and have certainly brought some challenges up to the surface. So with the Sun in Aries, it's all about pushing forwards and rising upwards and bright, fresh, dynamic energy. But with Saturn and Pluto both in Capricorn, it's about finding our core strength and connecting centrally to make sure that whatever we're putting our energy into will actually build something that's worth it, that sustains us, and that we have the endurance to put our energy into a plan that we can see through to the finish. So two very different energies there with Capricorn and Aries. And last week definitely brought that to the fore, to see where we're trying to push forwards and rush, but then to recenter with what we really want to build over a long period of time and what really does support and sustain us. This, coupled with Jupiter turning retrograde, has had us looking back inwards as well, because Jupiter is, for once in 12 years, home in his own sign of the Sage, Sagittarius. And that's very easy to be always on the outward expansive. Jupiter likes to expand as the Sun grows in strength from the winter solstice. Sagittarius likes to travel far and wide and expand the mind through experience. But when Jupiter turns retrograde, especially in Sagittarius, then it's our inner world that we need to go and explore. So if we were constantly on the outward, on the outreach, we'd expand beyond our boundaries and beyond our capabilities. Would become too diluted, too pulled apart. So it's necessary, once we've had a certain amount of journeying and experience, to then go inwards to be able to assimilate and find the wisdom of that story. So from now until August, that's what this story is about. And to realise that everything has to come from the inside first before we seek it on the outside, that what we are on the inside is what we're projecting and what we're experiencing on the outside. So there's a vast universe inside of us that we're ready to explore now, to get to the centre of our own world and our own wisdom and our own purpose for our journey and our own experiences, and to take that really deeply inwards from now until August. So there's still plenty of energy coming in this week. We have Mercury moving into Aries on Wednesday and Mars is in Gemini. So this is where two planets have swapped signs. Mars rules Aries and Mercury rules Gemini, and now we have those two planets actually changing rooms, changing spaces and swapping into each other's signs. It's called a mutual reception. These are both very heady. Aries is the head in the zodiac body and Mercury is the thinking mind. So we can see here that it's going to get very heady by midweek as those two planets are working in combination, but the key here is to not forget that the heart is in control. Can't keep running forwards with the head, following every idea, chasing every dream. Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn are saying slow down and make sure that you're connected with what matters. Jupiter retrograde is saying go inwards and make sure that it's happening on the inner world first. So a very tricky combination here as some very buzzy energy comes in by midweek. I feel one of the key things here is to not have to have a linear plan, not to have to control going forwards. That's the key. The opposite of forwards really is inwards in soul astrology. So instead of having plans going forwards, I think I want to do this, how can I make that happen? Putting plans into action with all of this buzzy Aries energy. Can we actually let go of the plan and just allow the idea and the passion to swirl around without actually acting on it? To explore how it feels, to explore its motivation, to add it to the pot and stir it around, knowing that at some point later on it will join with our other ideas, our other passions, our other visions, and probably make something more holistic that we can then put into practice that will be big enough for our new selves. So if lots of ideas and energy is buzzing around, just visualise putting that in your big pot internally. It's part of you. Yes, it can go in there if you're excited about it, but not having to act upon it just yet. Just stirring that as one of your ingredients of many, and we'll see what we're cooking up by midsummer. We need to keep one eye on Uranus now in Taurus, and there's an underlying theme here for 7 years of tidying up your heart, unconditional love, deconditioning the programming, sentimentality, romance, all these toxic ideas that are never going to be possible and certainly will never make us happy. We need to go into the heart space and have a regular checkup to make sure that everything is healthy. Pull up any weeds, any sense of dis-ease that's in there. Because if the heart is going to be the master ruling the mind, then we need to make sure that the heart is healthy. And gentle weeding over the next 7 years of all of these programs, all of this conditioning that has turned that garden into a wilderness. So checking in with your heart regularly. What do you care about? What feels right? What's sustaining? What's nurturing? What's of value? Will stop your head racing off to spark all these different ideas before their time. Even more to come, as by the time we get to Friday there's a full moon in Libra. Now this is the second full moon in Libra. We had one back at the spring equinox, 21st of March. That was at 0 degrees, this one's 29 degrees, so like bookends. We've had a journey through every degree of Libra in the last month, which is opposite Aries, so that makes sense really, because as the sun's been passing through Aries, we've also been treading through the opposite territory of Libra, because if you follow my style of astrology, I work with 6 pairs rather than 12 signs. So we've been walking through the lunar degrees of Libra, and what have we learnt along the way? We've had a story, again about turning inwards, definitely about balance. The equinox, equal night and day, is all about balance. Aries the head, Libra the heart, outer, inner, masculine, feminine. That's always the case at this time of year. But this year we've had 2 full moons. This happens because we're working to the wrong Roman calendar, and it can actually happen that there's 2 moons in one sign in a Roman calendar month, so don't worry about that so much. But if you do want to get a lunar solar calendar, then do contact me, because I work with a lovely calendar, one man, one woman endeavour, every year, which puts us back into spiral time. And this is also what my working with the moon cycles online course or workshop will do for you, help you to get back into the natural calendar. So second full moon in Libra. We've walked from 0 to 29 degrees. Look back over the month. What have you learnt? What have you balanced? What have you brought into harmony? Have you managed to connect with your inner realms and balance the outer and the inner? And with Jupiter retrograde, are you now able to clear space for your true self to grow into? Now sometimes we think that we've already done this, or we're already doing this, or when's it going to end? Because people feel like they've been doing their inner work for years now. But there's actually more. So try not to be complacent or despondent. But I feel that Jupiter takes our hand, and if we go willingly and curiously, with intrigue, we'll find out that this work can be fun. It's not all about negativity. What about going inwards and finding your joy, your beauty, your potential? Every time we clear something out, that makes space for potency. Then by the weekend we have the Sun moving into Taurus and Venus moving into Aries at the same time. This is said to be one of the most powerful cusps of the year. So those born between Aries and Taurus, or projects and plans made at this time, have the seed of potential greatness. This is where passion, Aries, meets productivity, Taurus. And with Venus going into Aries as well, a flourish of style and deepening knowledge of the reason for our actions comes in. So again, a difficult one, because we don't really want to put things into direct action too quickly unless they're really from the heart. But of course we have to act every week, of course we have to think, of course we have to do. But there's a sense of passion meeting longevity, productivity here. And that's a good balance for those Aries Capricorn energies I was talking about earlier. So if we percolate and put into the pot our ideas and what we really care about, then things can start to happen, but they're going to come from a very deep and central space, rather than just acting on a whim and running out of steam. So very complicated energies, day by day exploration, lots of things going on different levels, but the key always will be to check in and see how you feel. Make sure that your core centre strength is nourishing and supporting you, and to trust your intuition. But the more we get to the deep centre of ourselves, the more things come from that place, then the easier that is, because it's not even intuition anymore, it's self-knowing, knowing your true tone, and then amplifying from that place, and then surrendering to see what comes back. So we're learning to live in a whole different way. And we've got a while to get used to this, so it's just a change of perspective of how we're living, how we're creating, and who we really are at core level. So breathe, relax into it, enjoy the journey, and I'll keep you updated as we go along. To help with this, I have created a very holistic well-being program which works on a physical, mental, emotional and spiritual level. So using astrology as the blueprint, as your unique plan, so it's not a one-size-fits-all program, we take a look at your potency, your capability, your direction, your drive, and we have a look at any emotional blockages, any mental psychologies that are undermining you, and even how we can release that through the body and reconnect to your pure spirit and soul. So do give me an email if you're interested in having a chat about how we could create a program just for you. It's very exciting, very holistic, and very right for the times that we're going through now. I'm also available one-to-one for soul plan readings, and have a series of events and online courses and products available too. So for any of that, do come and see my website, astrozo.com, my Facebook at astrozo, my Instagram at zoehine7, and my email zoehine7@gmail.com. So those are the horoscopes for this week, and I'll see you next week.